lawful Revenus, and I'm here outside the National Assembly of Quebec to cover a major rally of owners of legally acquired firearms and their supporters. Coming from across Quebec and even from other Canadian provinces, they have gathered here to denounce what they describe as punitive and restrictive measures imposed by the federal government. Why is this rally being held in Quebec when firearms regulation falls under federal jurisdictions? Because Quebec is the only province that has agreed to actively collaborate with Ottawa in implementing the controversial firearm buyback program. Since we don't hear their voice in the media, we wanted to be here. We wanted to give them a voice, to let them express their concern about what the federal government is doing to them. So let's hear those people who might face criminal charges just because what? They comply to the law? Let's go and let's check it out.
De quelle façon est-ce qu'on qualifie des gens qui tiennent à propulser une loi qui ne protège qu'1% de la cause de la criminalité et qui laisse 99% de la criminalité continuer à voler à grandes ailes, pas de plomb dans les ailes? De quelle façon on appelle ces gens-là? Comment on les nomme? Si nous, on manque de respect. Alors je me demande, les gens qui prennent des micros, qui disent vouloir défendre ou soutenir le souvenir de victimes du passé, mais dans quel camp ces gens-là sont? Si, en toute bonne conscience, ils ont les mêmes chiffres que nous, ils ont vu les mêmes témoins experts que nous, ils étaient médecins légistes, ils étaient criminologues, ils étaient tous à dire que si on voulait enrayer la criminalité, c'était clair qu'il fallait agir dans la cause, qui est le 99% d'armes du milieu criminel qui causent des crimes contre la personne. Pas le 1%, et ces gens-là continuent à soutenir ça. Alors s'il y a quelqu'un présentement qui manque de respect envers les victimes des différentes tragédies, ben c'est pour vous autres.
Why you drove all the way here in Quebec?
Yeah, to support the Quebec firearms owners. They're licensed, they're legal, they're not criminals. Quebec government, they're very closely connected to the Liberals, and there's a lot of Liberal supporters that are in Quebec, and the federal government wants to appease the Liberal supporters. It's all politics. Gary and agree. He's been on record saying this is all politics, that it won't work. And he's right, it won't work.
If I were to redo this from scratch, right? I would have a very different approach.
Well, we came to Quebec first because the government of Quebec has signed a deal to help the federal government take firearms from their own people. Instead of from criminals, they're going to take the guns of law-abiding Quebecers. Quebecers do not deserve this. They deserve better from their government. So if the gun grab starts in Quebec, let's see it end in Quebec.
The importance of doing this in Quebec is really because Quebec is where the problem sort of started, and this is where we want the problem to end. The Quebec government is the only government to participate so far in the buyback. There's BC and PEI who have not pronounced, but all the other provinces have refused. And Quebec accepted, and we don't accept that Quebec has accepted this. It's not what we want. It's not what the people want. It's a waste of money. And what we want is for the money to be spent in meaningful ways. We want the money to be spent in meaningful ways that could actually save lives.
La ville donc ne se fera pas juge des causes. Je veux dire, c'est quand même contraire à la Constitution. Là. Je veux dire, c'est pas un droit. Le droit d'être armé, c'est pas quelque chose qui est protégé par la Constitution. Donc
non, mais s'ils arrivaient armés, c'est ça, on agira parce qu'ils respecteront pas les règles. À partir de là, à partir du moment où des gens manifestent pour une cause, ils ont le droit. Si on est dans un pays libre, ils ont le droit de manifester, ils ont le droit de venir dire qu'est-ce qui est important pour eux.
Mais c'est pas quelque chose qui vous inquiète outre mesure, autrement?
Qu'eux autres viennent manifester avec cette cause-là? Ben non, dans la mesure où ils le font en respectant les règles, pas du tout. S'ils respectent pas les règles, ben ils vont rencontrer notre police.
There is some journalists of the mainstream media just before this gathering who was trying to portray the people today as dangerous individuals. Why do you think we are seeing journalists trying to portray people who are coming here to peacefully protest just because they want to keep their rights as a legal gun owner?
Yeah, well, I think that the mainstream media, as we know, is bought and paid by the government, and they toe the line. They basically do what the government wants. before we get the news, it's washed, it's rinsed, and it's spun. So it's not really accurate news. So we give thanks to Rebel News for saying it the way it is.
Well, because the media, just like the Quebec government, accepts funds from the Liberal government. So they only tell one side of the story. But I'm here to take a clear message back to Ottawa. The Quebec is not going to put up with this. Canadians are not going to put up with this. And all of Canada wants real public safety measures. That message is going back to Ottawa loud and clear.
I'd say it's kind of like children when they go to an apple orchard. They just go for the apples at the bottom of the tree because that's easy. They're not going to go and get a ladder and climb up to the top of the tree and get the apples out of the top of the tree. So it's kind of the same thing. It's easy for the government, it's easy for politicians to attack gun owners because they know we own guns, and the public aren't necessarily aware of the reality of our culture, of our community. So really it's because we're low-hanging fruit, but we know that we're not the problem.
I saw on X, formerly Twitter, a back and forth between you and Police Souvien, that is the lobbying group anti-gun. They say that it was scandalous that you were doing your gathering despite what happened in Tumbler Ridge. What do you think of that? This back and forth when Police Souvien should actually address the real issue that is the illegal guns in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, these tragedies present an opportunity to the anti-gun lobby to put that on the backs of good people. The people gathered here today in Quebec City had nothing to do with what happened in Tumbler Ridge, and they should be ashamed of themselves for even insinuating that. This rally was planned long before that happened. It's going to continue. We're going to continue to oppose it, and nothing is going to stop us.
How do you explain also that when there is some tragedy or there is something happening, we always hear one side, like mainly Police Souvien, but never CCFR or law-abiding gun owners? Why the media is always giving the voice of one side and ignoring one side?
That's actually kind of a mystery. There's something about what you just said that's kind of a mystery. It seems like nobody knows. Why do they put all their attention on the law-abiding and never on the criminals? I can say one thing. In about the same time period, they put out laws restricting licensed gun owners, but at the same time putting out laws like C5, C75 that are basically like throwing candy at the criminals. So try to make sense of it. You can't make sense of it. Taking away mandatory minimums for violent firearms criminals, the revolving door justice system. So you can't make sense of it.
Do you think the lack of information is contributing to Canadians to not being informed and kind of support to remove the guns from the legal gun owners?
Oh, absolutely. They use these tragedies and then use it to prop up gun bans. None of these tragedies would be prevented with these gun bans. In fact, the fact that these tragedies are still happening is a clear show that this is a failure. I think Canadians in general want real public safety measures. They've never understood gun ownership, but it's the mission of the CCFR to make sure they understand us, they support us, and we all stand together in this.
The Public Safety Minister of Quebec announced a couple of days ago that is not going to allow the federal government to have access to the registry and that nobody will come and confiscate the firearm. Do you believe him when he's saying that? And why do you think he did publish that a couple of days before your gathering?
Well, I think that the Public Safety Minister made the deal with Ottawa in order to get funds. They get paid by the Liberal government to do this work. And I think now that he's seeing the opposition to it, he's having second thoughts. So he's softening his message. We support that. But he should end it. End the agreement, give them back their money, and focus your resources and your efforts on real public safety, not attacking your citizens.
Yeah, I don't believe that for 1 second, especially what happened after COVID. I don't believe the government has our best interests. They're not being honest with us. They're very deceiving. But like I said, they're trying to appease the Quebec people.
I think he said that nobody is coming for our guns. I don't think he thought much about what he was saying, because it's a federal law, so he has nothing to say about it. He cannot say to the people, we're not. I think that was a mistake on his part. I think what he wanted to say is what he signed up for. They won't be. The SQ won't be confiscating the guns. So I think he made a mistake when he said that, but he really should have been a little more careful about what he was saying, because it's a federal law. We all know it's a federal law. If the federal government decides to send the GRC to come, the Mounties to come, the Lafrenière cannot stop that, right? So it's a bit of a mistake on his part to have said that.
Do you have any concern because the amnesty period will finish on October 30, and afterwards, the people who didn't actually surrender their arms, their firearms, will be now deemed criminals?
The mandate I was given by Carney to complete this, right? And this is something that very much a big deal for many of the Quebec electorate that voted for us.
Yeah, well, they're criminalizing 2.4 million Canadians. The public safety minister said in the leaked video, the leaked audio that I leaked out, he doesn't believe in this. They don't have the resources to enforce it. They're not actually going to collect the guns. It's all a big show to please the anti-gun lobby and to please Quebec voters. I think the tide is turning. Quebec voters know that this is not the way to achieve public safety. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to extend the amnesty.
At Ribbon News, we started a petition at endsofourguns.com. If you believe that the federal government needs to stop to restrict and punish legal owner of firearms, go and sign the petition right now, share it, and thanks for watching.